But that is a job that demands a calm, collected, and dignified response to these kinds of events.
Disarm your bodyguards. If you're so anti-gun, bitch. Disarm your bodyguards.
Instead, yesterday morning, just one day after the massacre, he went on TV and suggested that President Obama is on the side of the terrorists.
He is.
Now just think about that for a second. Even in a time of divided politics, this is way beyond anything that should be said by someone running for president.
Bitch, that's all she has. All she has is, oh my God, Donald Trump did something bad. You should be infuriated. That's all the left has, is making you feel like you did something wrong for speaking your mind passionately. You people are going down.
It is disrespectful to the people who were killed and wounded and their families.
Get a life, dumbass.
It is yet more evidence that he is temperamentally unfit and totally unqualified to be a commander-in-chief.
Total bullshit. All she's doing is throwing out terms.
Of course, he is a leader of the birther movement, which spread the lie that President Obama wasn't born in the United States. I guess he had to be reminded Hawaii is part of the United States. This is a man who claimed a distinguished federal judge, born and raised in Indiana, can't do his job because of his, quote, Mexican heritage.
Wrong. No, it's because the guy is associated with the Mexican KKK, otherwise known as La Raza.
So maybe we shouldn't be surprised. But it was one thing when he was a reality TV personality. You know, raising his arms and yelling.
You mean something other than a career politician, you stupid slut? Ha!
Altogether when he is the Republican Party's presumptive nominee for president. Americans, we don't need conspiracy theories and pathological self-congratulations. We need leadership, common sense, and concrete plans because we are facing a brutal enemy. In the Middle East, ISIS is attempting a genocide.
Bitch, you won't even name the Islamic associations associated with the so-called enemy.
Accept their medieval ways. They are beheading civilians, including executing LGBT people, murdering Americans and Europeans.
Oh, they're so bad, but you want to import millions, thousands of them from Syria.
Barbarity we face from radical jihadists is profound. So I would like to have a worthy debate on the best way to keep our country safe. That's what Americans deserve.
Oh.
Now, I read every word of Donald Trump's speech yesterday.
And you shat your pants.
All of the bizarre rants and the outright lies.
You hope they're lies, bitch.
Once you cut through the nonsense, is that his plan comes down to two things. First, he is fixated on the words radical Islam. Now, I must say I find this strange. Is Donald Trump suggesting that there are magic words that once uttered will stop terrorists from coming after us? Now,
no, bitch, is that you won't even name the enemy. That's the problem.
Trump, as usual, is obsessed with name-calling. And from my perspective, it matters what we do, not just what we say.
Bitch. Bitch.
In the end, it didn't matter what we called bin Laden. It mattered that we got bin Laden.
Aren't you the dumb bitch who wanted to go into Iraq in the first place, slut? Talk about temperament.
I have clearly said that we faced terrorist enemies who use a perverted version of Islam to justify slaughtering innocent people.
It ain't perverted. It's fucking Islam 101.
Donald suggests I won't call this threat what it is. He hasn't been listening. But I will not demonize and declare war on an entire religion. And
it's central to the religion. And so-called moderate Muslims, half the time, you know what they are? They're just, they are mild operatives. They are just tame operatives waiting to be unleashed.
Donald's going to have to come up with something better. He's got one other idea. He wants to ban all Muslims from entering our country. And now he wants to go even further and suspend all immigration from large parts of the world. Now, I've talked before about how this approach is un-American. It goes against everything we stand for as a country, founded on religious freedom. But it is also dangerous. First, we rely on partners in Muslim countries to fight terrorists. This would make it harder. Second, we need to build trust in Muslim communities here at home to counter radicalization, and this would make it harder. Third, Trump's words will be, in fact, they already are, a recruiting tool for ISIS.
Victim blaming. I love that. Oh, but what Donald Trump says makes it worse. What Donald Trump says, pointing out the facts of radical Islam, doesn't justify that Trump shouldn't speak the truth because people might get angry. That's total victim blaming. You're basically saying that pointing out the barbarism of radical Islam is Trump's fault, which is funny because isn't that the same thing they do to Trump when anti-Trump rioters outside of his rallies start punching people, throwing rocks, and blowing shit up practically? They say Trump is inciting violence. Always take the blame off the quote-unquote minorities doing crazy violent shit and instead shift it on to Donald Trump and say that he's inciting violence. You're victim blaming.
He has Muslims in his police force. He has Muslims in the community. He needs everybody working together against any potential threat. But Donald won't listen to any of this, not experts like General Petraeus or Commissioner Bratton or anybody, because he says he knows more about ISIS than the generals do.
Well, he knew enough to predict in January that Brussels was a hellhole compared to what it used to be thanks to Muslim migration into Brussels, Belgium. And a few months after Trump said that, a bombing happened in Brussels, Belgium, a terror-related, radical Islam-related bombing. So, guess what? He knows enough to predict things while you stand on the sidelines and at best react after the fact and try to come off as Mrs. Strong and anti-Islamic terrorism.
In Queens, New York, just like Donald was himself. So Muslim bans and immigration reforms would not have stopped him. They would not have saved a single life in Orlando.
Wrong. What she's trying to say is that because Omar Mateen was born in America, a Muslim ban won't change anything. Well, not necessarily true. The point of the Muslim ban is really to be more scrutinizing about who comes into the country. And if a more scrutinizing immigration policy had been in place months, years, decades ago, maybe Omar Mateen, with his Afghanistan president running for president, his father's a freaking political candidate in Afghanistan and running for president, maybe people would have been insightful enough about his ties and his family background decades ago to say, hey, maybe this guy has certain ties we can't trust. But we all know Hillary Clinton loves foreign migrants from third world countries coming into America because they tend to vote Democrat.
Brave American service members, law enforcement agents, intelligence officers, diplomats, and others who have worked so hard to keep our country safe. Donald says our military is a disaster and the world is laughing at us. Wrong again.
They are, dumbass.
Since 9/11, America has done a great deal at home and abroad to stop terrorists. Thousands of Americans have fought and died. We have worked intensively with our allies, engaged in fierce and vital debates here at home about how far our government should go in monitoring threats. We have vastly increased security measures at airports, train stations, power plants.
Listen, you dumbass, if America was so great, we wouldn't be massively in fucking debt. Alright, we wouldn't be the laughing stock of the world with our global, global policing foreign policy that has agitated so many parts of the world. This country is not great. It has a lot of fucking flaws, and you want to act like you're Mrs. Patriotic because you still think the country's amazing.
Who's up to these challenges, who can grapple with them in all their complexity. Someone with real plans and real solutions that actually address the problems we face.
You definitely ain't that woman. Anyways, guys, I figured I'd do a little bit of a live reaction to that. I'm not going to sit there and listen to her whole speech, but that was a little live reaction. As always, guys, Donald Trump, finally someone with balls, t-shirts. Get it now while it's hot, while it's relevant. The link to the shirt is below.